of the application engine: program, section, step, and action. Now, in application engine, we have 4 components. Every component has its own properties: program properties, section properties, step properties, action properties. Where we can see the program properties here. In the general tab, it's a very common tab where you can give your description and comments. And coming to the state records. Each application engine can have one or more state records associated with it. It is a work table to pass values from one step action to another. Yes, it's a work table to pass values from one step action to another. If anybody is asking, wow, what is state record? It is a work table to pass values from one step action to another. We use it as a working storage for any program. And state record can be a SQL table or a work record. Yes, state record can be a SQL table or a work record. That means 2 types of records we can use it as a state record: SQL table or derived record. Then the question will arise here: in which one of the scenarios we will prefer SQL table as a state record? In which one of the scenarios we will prefer work record as a state record? Yes, SQL table as a state record we will prefer whenever we are operating with a restartable application. We will operate work record as a state record in a non-restartable application engine. And a program can have 0 to many state records. That means there is no mandatory, your program must should hold one state record. It's not mandatory. Depends on your requirement. The major property, the major usage of the state record, it is a work table to pass values from one step action to another. Yes. What is the values passage? Let us say in the do select, I am selecting the data. Select employee ID, comma name from PS underscore first name underscore data. This is the table. And this is the query I'm writing, and I'm getting the data. The same data, whatever the data I'm fetching in this do select, I would like to use that particular data in the people code. Fine. This is one different action and this is one different action. In between these 2 actions, I would like to pass the values. In this scenario, the state record will be useful. We will create a state record now. How we will create a state record? Whenever we are creating a state record also, there should be some steps to follow. It's a record, and whenever we are creating the state record, the very first step, we have to identify which record type you are going to create and use. Now I decided my record type is derived record. Next step, insert a delivered field, which is a mandatory field in state record, process instance. This is the field, and that should be the key field. Next mandatory step, whatever the values you would like to pass, let's say with this state record you would like to pass these 2 values, employee and name, then use those 2 values in your record. Why? Because whatever the values you would like to pass, you have to include those fields. Employee and name. Now just save it. Whenever you are saving also, there is a mandatory there is a mandatory naming convention underscore AET. Without giving that naming convention, you won't identify it as a state record. I will show you. Underscore AET, application engine state record. Open the application engine. Once you created the state record, it won't pass the values by default. You have to attach the state record first here. State record. If you click on get list, each and every table here is holding underscore AET. How many tables you checked it? All of the tables. Now, I'm giving my table name. And add it. Click on OK. Is it done? No. I would like to pass the value. Then, in the do select, here I am writing percentile select. Employee ID, comma, name. Now you can pass the value. What it will do, whatever the values you are selecting, those values will be picked by this statement, and you can use those values here in the people code. But one thing, very important point to remember, every time one row of data will be transferred in between these actions. That means whenever you are using a state record to pass the information, it's a row by row. Very, very important. Row by row. Now, only one row of data it will pass it.
So till it goes to the final step, or it is only up to people code? Row by row?
Every step.
Every step. Oh, so it has to go. Okay.
Generally, here is the loop. Right? Here we will create one more loop. Otherwise, that means if you are passing the values in between the steps, that is important.
Okay.
Wherever you are using these values, there it will go.
Okay.
Got it?
So it pertains to only one step, Venkataraman?
Yeah. It's only one step. If you are calling a call section here, then automatically it will call one more step also into that.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yes.
Very, very important. And it's no, there is no mandatory act. You have to use the state record. You can apply that particular state record logic wherever you require.
And one more question only. So the state records, so every app engine job that you write, you have to create this, if you need it, if you have to create the state records for that particular job. You cannot use the existing state records or anything such.
Okay. It is not like that. Okay. One more point. A can have one or more state records.
Yes.
One or more state records. What is the possibility? Okay. Here also, I'm using the do select and people code concept. In this do select, I am writing the logic select job code, comma, department ID from PS underscore job. But you are not in a position to pass these two values by using this record.
Yes.
You would like to pass these two values, job code and the department ID, to this people code. Then what I will do, I will create one more state record and I will add that particular state record structure here. And I will use the state record name here. But in this scenario, I have to use my record name also. AET dot field name job code, comma, so and so. Why I have to use this particular naming convention? Why? Because this state record is a non-default state record. Venkat, where we can see this non-default state record. How you can specify it's a non-default state record? Here in the program itself. It is the default state record. Then for this state record, no need to pass the state record value, name. But if it's a non-default state record, you have to pass the value, record name. Why? Because number of non-default state records might be there, like this.
But there can be only one. Yeah. So, but there can be only one default.
Yes. If you are not passing this record name, then system may be confused if it is holding job code in multiple tables in the state record side, in which state record job code it should pass the value. That's why if it's a non-default state record, you have to pass the record name also.
So basically one job, if it has multiple state records, one state record would be default, and whenever you're referencing that particular default state record, you don't have to specify the name, but otherwise you have to specify the name.
Absolutely. Okay.
And the other thing I was asking is, when you click on the drop down of the state records when you're trying to create, you see the lot of existing state records. So I was asking that, can you use the already existing state records for your job, particular job?
Why don't we use it? Use it.
Okay.
It depends on your requirement.
Yes.
Okay.
So in the real time, usually, do you create the state records for every job that you are working on, or you try to investigate and see if you can use any existing ones?
That's what I'm saying. It depends on your requirement. If any requirement matches, then we can use it. Otherwise, we will create new one.
Okay.
But who will care about, who knows about what is the record structure of this AE plus AET? Why should we more worry about it?
No, sometimes what happens, sometimes what happens if your supervisor or like manager is also very experienced in Peoplesoft, they always ask you, oh, why don't you use the delivered one? Why do you have to create a new one? You know, something like that. You know.
Okay, no problem. Next concept, temporary tables.
So in this one, for when you create a record, one is you can identify by TBL, it's a SQL, and WRK by work record or derived record. When you come to AET, when you add AET, really you cannot identify whether it is a SQL table or it's a work record, right?
Yes, by looking at the properties only.
Okay.
No. Next concept, temp tables. Where we can see the temp tables? Here itself, temp tables. Temp tables are nothing, it's a temporary table, but it's not a temporary table, it's a database object. Temporary records enable set processing, foundation for parallel processing. Temporary tables are not temporary. Here, if you look at this concept, temporary tables, even you can skip this question in interviews, you haven't walked around this as of now. But these temp tables are useful whenever you are generating one parallel processing. What is parallel processing? Let us say your program is loading 10,000 rows of data. It is taking 3 hours of time to load the data. Now you are creating your temp table concept here, and now you are going to generate a parallel processing concept. Now click on temp table. There is no mandatory naming convention. Here you will see TAO, WK, temporary, TMP, anyone. Generally we will go with TAO. What is this temporary table? Let us say you are loading data into job table. You are creating temporary tables also for the job table. Then you will create one temporary table which is a replica of the job table, and you will add that. That means just save as the job table, and you will add that particular table here. Let us imagine it's a job table replica. Now here I am giving 9 instances. What will happen then if I click on OK, if I run the application engine, what will happen? This application engine will create 9 instances like this: 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, 06, 07. Like that, it will create 9 more instances for this temporary table. And original instances, sorry, original instance is already there. That means totally 10 instances. 10 instances will share the data, and all the data instances will process parallelly and load the data at a time. Here, time consumption will be less. Time consumption will be less. And one drawback is also there. Whenever this type of process failed, which instance got failed, what are all the rows it is processing, it's a typical matter. That's why very rarely we will use this temp tables concept. Not a regular way.
So the so the key would be the process instance if you're troubleshooting.
Absolutely. Last and final option, advanced tab, disable restart. That means every application engine itself, it's a restart of an application engine. We are disabling the restart by using this. I'm sure in your real time, 100% more than if you're developing 100 programs, almost 99 programs are non-restartable application engines. Very occasionally we'll get a chance to work on this. Restartable. Next, application library. Just observe one thing. Whenever we are trying to rename the section name, we can rename it. But we can't rename the section name main. Why? Because it's a Peoplesoft delivered section in each and every application engine. But if you decided it's application library, from now onwards, I won't call it's an application engine. It's application library. Simple as like as a sub-record concept. Then what will happen? It will ask us to rename the main section. Then from now onwards, we won't call it as an app engine. It's an application library. We can call these application libraries through some other application engine programs by using call section. That's it. Next, batch only. It's a checkbox which restricts this program to be run through process scheduler, batch only more. That means in 2 ways we can run the program, application engine. Once you create the application engine, once you register the application engine, through the front end, from the online page, you can run the application engine. That means in the online page, if you click on the submit button, there also you can run the application engine by using call app engine function. Call app engine is the function. Then it will run the application engine. And one more way, by using the process scheduler, people tools, process scheduler, there also you can run. It's called batch run. There are no push buttons. Just you can schedule it or you can run it manually. That means here in the process scheduler, if you selected your program is a batch only program, then your program can be run through this process scheduler, not from the online pages. That's the important difference.
Where is that?
Sorry,
where is that? From where you can run on the people tools?
Process scheduler.
Okay.
Process scheduler, system process request. Here, process scheduler is a tool.
Okay.
We will see from the next section on.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah,
I never looked at it. So, of course, whatever we run, it is all both. I can run on demand and batch.
Yes. Program type. Standard, upgrade only, import only, demo only, and transform only. But 100% your program type is standard. In real time also, you will develop only majorly standard program types. All other program types, please ignore it. Even in interviews also, you can tell them, I haven't worked on it. It's not a big deal. Next, section properties. Observe carefully. This is the section. Here is the description we can add. And market. 99, not 99, 1000% we will go with the market as a global. Please, I can assure you one thing. What are all the default options we are able to see in the section level, step level, action level? Most of the times, you will go with these default options. You won't change these options on a regular basis. The platform, 100% it should be default. Why? Because if you are developing any application engine specifically for a database platform, then only you will choose the option. Otherwise, 100% you will go with default. And the effective date also, the default effective date is in 1900. Yesterday also I told you, based on the effective date also we can run the program. If you decided that 2017 is the effective date, then your program won't run even you prepared it now. Otherwise, from 2016 January 1st onwards it's inactive. Then your program won't run now. Why? Because it's already inactive. Prepare only. Critical updates and prepare only. Critical updates can be an option selected by the DBAs whenever they are doing the updates on the database side by using application engines. But a normal developer, 100% we will go with the prepare only. Next and very important checkbox, it is the commit, auto commit. As of now, if anybody is asking where we can commit the application engine. Yes, we can commit the application engine once all the sections and all the steps are completed. That means we are not committing. System will take care about the commit there. But here, commit after step. If you selected this, what will happen? After each and every step successful completion, your program will issue a commit. Step 1 will issue the commit. Step 3 will issue the commit. Step 2 completion, it will issue the commit. That means here one more level of commit after the section default level, that means system level commit. Now it is the section level commit. We can decide here after each and every successful step completion, please issue that commit. Last and final option, access public. Whenever we have an option access to the public in the section level, then only that particular section can be called through other application engines by using call section. If it's not public, then this particular section can be called within this application engine program, not in other application engine programs. Now, step level. Step name and step description. You can wish it's your own naming convention. One more level of commit here. Step level. Very, very important. As of now, we have two levels of commits. Program level commit, section level commit. In the third level, step level commit, it has a drop down. Default later after step. Default, what it will do? First, it will check is there any section level commit occurs, auto commit. Then this step will execute and it will commit it. Then if it's not there, then what will happen? It's default. It was first checked for the section level. If there is no auto commit decided in the section level, then it will go for the system commit. You decided after step, but in the step 1, you decided later. What will happen? After completion of step 1, it won't commit the transaction, sorry, it won't commit the step 1 to the database. It will wait until the next successful commit occurs. When will be the next successful commit occurs? In the next step. Here. In the next step, it will commit both of them. Here also you decided it's later. Here also you decided it's later. Then both of these steps should on hold. Whenever the next successful commit occurs, automatically all these steps will execute sequential manner and commit. Last and final option, after step. Let us say you have not decided after step in the section level, but you can decide the same option in the step level also. As a developer, you would not like to commit after each and every successful step completion. You would like to commit your program only after step 1 completion. Yes. Is there any such type of scenario? Yes. Whatever the data you are processing here in the step 1, you would like to utilize the same data here in the step 2. Then what will happen? Once the step 1 completed, it should commit the transaction. Then only whatever the data we are looking to execute in step 2, the data will be available in the database. We will fetch the data. In those scenarios, only one step commit that should be in the step level is available for us. Next concept, frequency. Observe carefully. In the step 1, frequency is enabled. Step 2, frequency is enabled. Step 3, there is no frequency enabled. Why? Why? Because in step 1 we have looping action. Do select, do while, do until. In the step 2, in step 3 here, there is no looping action. If there is any looping action like do select, do while, automatically the frequency will come. What is this frequency? You decided it's 500. Here it's 500. Then what will happen? After every successful completion of these 250 rows, it will come into the database. This frequency level is very, very important only whenever you are working with restartable application engines. This frequency will maintain the level. And on error. Whenever you are receiving an error to the particular step execution, what we have to do? Abort. Yes, stop the program and correct the error. Ignore. Continue the program with errors and please write the error messages in the log file. And the last and final step, suppress. Continue the program with errors. Please don't write any messages in the log. Even I don't know what is the reason they created it. Next option, active. If the checkbox is checked, then only your particular section will come in execution. If I uncheck it like this, there is no step 2. There is no step 1, sorry, in the execution. Whenever I selected active, then only your step 1 will execute. Very, very important steps. Sorry, very, very important properties in the step 1. Next, action level. Where is the action level? Here. In the step, we have different kinds of actions. Do and do while, do select, people code, SQL or call section, log message and do until. Here, each and every action has their own properties. Let us say SQL reuse control is there. Observe carefully, this reuse control is available in all major actions. Do when, reuse control is there. Do while, reuse statement is there. Do select, reuse statement is there. SQL reuse statement is there. Do select, reuse statement is there. That means reuse statement is a common property among these 5 actions. All 4 do actions and 1 SQL. What it will do? It has a drop down. No, yes, bulk insert. Always the default option is no. Then please go with it. Nothing to worry. What no will indicate? It tells the system the SQL statement to be recompiled every time. If the option is yes, SQL statement isn't recompiled every time, but you will process only 1 row of data at a time. And bulk insert can be used only when you insert to load a huge amount of data to increase the performance. That means if your reuse statement is bulk insert, the particular SQL statement must and should carry the logic insert into command. Then only you can use this bulk insert, but very occasionally we will use it. 100% we will go with no is the default option. For all these 5 actions, do, when, do, while, do, select, SQL and calls, do and do. Now, no rows in the SQL. SQL, we have one more option, no rows. What it will do? Here, in SQL action, we have no rows option. 100% we will go with the continue. Whenever you are not receiving any row in the execution, please continue the program. It's not our error, it's a database data issue. Your SQL statement is perfect, it is not making any row. Then you can continue the logic. Sometimes you can skip this particular step whenever you are not receiving any row in this SQL. You can break the entire section logic also, and you can go to the next section. And abort also available. But abort means program aborted. 100% you will go with continue here. Next, people code. It's a very, very generic option. People code, where you can write the people code logic here. And the option property of people code is 3 options: abort, break, and skip step. But 100% we will go with the abort only. Next, log message, very straightforward. Message catalog numbers, message set and message numbers are the parameters in the log message. But 100% I can tell you, you can prefer the people code messages in the people code action. No need to wait for the log message. Do when already we discussed, do while discussed, do select. Do select, we discussed one property, reuse statement. One more property is the do select type. 3 options are there: select fetch, reselect, and restartable. Here, select fetch is an option where you can't restart your application engine. If the select fetch is, you are moving with the select fetch, there is no restart facility. No commit allowed in the middle. Data is retrieved only once. That means if your program is a restartable application engine program, then only please change this do select option from select fetch to reselect. Restartable. And reselect will be executed again and again the particular same SQL. Make sure that will not work on the same data row again. That means the same type of logic, but with this, in this scenario, SQL will be executed again and again. In the restartable, just like select fetch with restart facility. checkpoint to be maintained manually. Where you are maintaining the checkpoint? With the help of the frequency here. You are maintaining the checkpoint. Based on this checkpoint, it will carry the logic. Do until also the same reuse statement. And the call section, we have one different property in the call section, that is, we already checked it, section name and step name, section name, program name and section name, which one we are calling here. But in the call section, we have one more checkbox here, dynamic. Whenever I selected the dynamic checkbox, there is no section name available. This dynamic call section we will prefer whenever we are handling a section calling based on a logic, then only we will use this dynamic call section. Whenever you are choosing the dynamic call section logic, the code should be written in the people code to call the section based on the logic. We will see in our examples in our upcoming discussions. Any doubts so far?
Only on the section lo last I didn't get that access public I didn't listen properly.
Public?
Yeah, yes.
Here there is no public access, right? Only for this section update.
Yes.
Then this particular section is, we won't call this, we can't call this section from other applications.
Okay.
By using console.
So when we usually write the App Engine jobs, do we check it off or uncheck?
Depends, again.
Depends. Okay.
It depends on the requirement.
Okay.
What we are defining in the section, we are defining a logic.
Yeah.
With this, we completed the theoretical part of the application engine. But one thing, please keep in mind, SQL, do select, do until, do while, do when. All these are the SQL actions. That means simply we are writing queries. People code we are writing. Other than that, nothing to develop an application engine. We have to arrange the SQL statements in people code in a proper order. That's it. That is the application. Observe carefully. We have not learned any new concept here, any new technology, any new coding. We are just going to utilize the things, whatever we learned so far, that means in the SQLs or people code. Is it clear? Both of you?
Yes.
Yes.
With this, we completed the theoretical part. From tomorrow onwards, we will start the practice of the application engine. Tomorrow, we will start first with outbound application engine. Once it's completed, then we will go for the inbound.
Okay.
Is it okay?
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I will send you the recording over the email. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.